Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at SCP, so this is a really special video for me. This is the first ever SCP that I read and became obsessed with the SCP universe, and I have wanted to talk about it forever. In fact, there was actually an SCP playlist I did ages ago, where I planned to go through every single one of these things, but I never got round to doing it. But I thought we might as well start with the very first one that got me into this rabbit hole in the first place. So, here we are. SCP-001 is the designation given to an unknown sapient entity, or entities, which is or are capable of initiating and exerting control over anomalous phenomena, Earth and in all regions of space observable thus far by modern scientific methods. This is confirmed by the sheer number of contained objects, which display properties not explicable by any currently accepted theory of physics, and the relatively small percentage of these objects which exhibit clear artificiality. Observation of anomalous, natural phenomena, and artifacts has been increasing exponentially since the dawn of modern observation technology. As such, the Foundation's primary function now is the identification, collection, and study of these objects and events, as well as the suppression of knowledge of them among non-personnel. Though the Foundation has had some success in cataloging anomalous occurrences, their causes remain almost uniformly unknown. Furthermore, anomalous phenomena appear to be increasing in frequency and/or Foundation detection capabilities are improving. It is possible that these two factors are related. Any attempts to correlate the sparse data available on observed instances of SCP-001 have failed due to the variety of observed effects. However, there does appear to be some correlation between the positions of certain stars and anomalous activity on Earth. Further research into this correlation may prove fruitful. Further research may also determine whether the activity is sapient in nature, and if so, the means by which the entities communicate with each other and with human research. The Foundation currently lacks the capability to either contact or contain SCP, though project is designed to remedy both of these issues. Efforts are ongoing. This text was written in early 2007 and reflects the state of the SCP universe at that time. Since then, the Foundation's understanding of SCP-001 has changed dramatically. See site for current research into SCP-001. Additionally, please see the attached interview log regarding discussion of SCP-001 instances. And then following that text is an interview log from July 20th between Dr. and an amnesiac woman, Eve. And during the course of the conversation, she speaks about the death of humanity and the end of the world. And yeah, it's pretty messed up and terrifying. But just before I get into that, let us talk about the formatting of this particular SCP. So normally an SCP file is laid out in a very strict format. There's a brief description of the object, its anomalous properties, how it was recovered, the containment procedures, etc. But this particular file doesn't follow that format. Instead, the entirety of the file is written like it is one cohesive document, along with the standard SCP formatting for things like the description of the object and the recovery logs. All of that stuff is written in the third person, but the rest of it is written as if we are reading the thoughts of the main character within the story, and that's kind of confusing when it's put like that. So let me try to explain it another way. The story is told in two separate points of view. One is a more detached third-person narrative which describes the story of the protagonist as well as the broader story of humanity as a whole. And then there's the first-person perspective, which is us reading the mind of the protagonist. The way I like to think about it is the first-person perspective is essentially us reading the protagonist's thoughts in real time as she reads the file herself. So, as we read the story, we are simultaneously reading the protagonist's thoughts on the story as she is reading it, if that makes sense. If not, I don't blame you. This story is absolutely bonkers and not easily explained. But trust me, it will all make sense in just a moment. So the story begins with the year being 20, and the protagonist working as a researcher for the SCP Foundation. She's looking over an SCP file and she notices that it has been tampered with. Someone has edited the file to make himself a god. And soon after that, she gets a message from her boss who informs her that she needs to come into work early the next day to discuss the issue. But when she arrives at work, no one is there. Everyone is gone. The site appears to have been abandoned. As she's walking around the site, she finds a series of dead bodies, including one in her office, which belongs to her boss. He was trying to write something on a computer but died before he could finish. She finds another researcher and brings him back to life. She tries to talk to him, but he can't speak. His throat has been ripped out. Suddenly they hear a noise outside and run to the window to find the sky filled with thousands upon thousands of SCPs pouring out of the sky. All of these SCPs were previously classified as Euclid or Keter class, meaning they were all dangerous and unpredictable. She radios the upper echelons of the SCP Foundation to warn them, but no one answers. Apparently she is the only one left. Now I'm not going to spoil everything that happens in the story. You should definitely read the file yourself. But the gist of it is the protagonist uses the remaining resources of the Foundation to try and stop the impending apocalypse, while coming to terms with the fact that humanity is doomed. Now if you've watched my other SCP videos, you will all know that I tend to focus on the weirdest and most bizarre entries in the SCP universe. but SCP-001 is not one of those things. In fact, I would say it is one of the least weird SCPs in existence. It's a horror story, disguised as an SCP file. And the reason why it works so well as a horror story is that it feels real. It feels like something that could actually happen. A virus or bacteria that kills everyone except for a handful of people, something that could have been hidden away until now. The concept of an unknowable extra-dimensional entity that has been influencing the development of our world since its creation is a pretty common trope in fiction. But when Daybreaks manages to take that idea and make it feel fresh and terrifying once again. I also love the use of the prose. I talked about this a bit already, but the entire file is written in a way that blurs the line between fiction and reality. Because of the way the first-person and third-person perspectives intertwine, it feels like we are reading the protagonist's thoughts as she reads the file, and that creates an extremely immersive experience. And that effect is only amplified by the fact that it was originally posted to a forum, meaning you are literally reading the thoughts of someone reading an SCP file on the SCP Wiki. It's meta in a way, but it also adds to the immersion of it all. But anyway, those are my thoughts on SCP-001 when day breaks. This is obviously not a lighthearted or fun SCP. It's meant to scare you, and it does that very well. But I think it's also a commentary on humanity as a whole. Humanity is so fascinated with the idea of the apocalypse that we create stories about it all the time. We imagine all of these scenarios where humanity meets its end, and yet somehow we never learn our lesson. Perhaps that is why 001 When Day Breaks is still one of the best SCPs ever made, because it reminds us that even in the face of insurmountable odds, even when faced with our own mortality, we humans just keep on trucking. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button and consider subscribing. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good one.